Today, we'll be learning how to play Nunu from the best.
Hey.
Snowball Barrage is a high elo Nunu one-trick with almost 2 million mastery points. But what makes him the best person to learn from?
Earlier on in the season, I was rank 1 Nunu NA and I was rank 20 Nunu World. I thought that was a pretty cool achievement. I'm also very educational when I stream. I tend to say the reasons why I'm making my decisions out loud, and that's a great way to learn for some people, I've been told.
And as the resident Nunu expert, what are some of the playstyles that you recommend?
There are 3 main playstyles you could adopt. One is the typical tank. It's a more of like an aggro, like an aggressive tank build where you'd go like Deadmans and then Gargoyle, Stoneplate, and kind of these expensive powerhouse items that help you be able to pretty much do more DPS or have more mobility and basically be more aggressive on the map. And then there's the support, which I tend to lean towards. I actually think support items are really good on Nunu, or like supportive tanks with a lot of CC, because they're very cheap and they're cost efficient, and I think it's good to take advantage of that stuff when you're on a low income champion. So for example, you could do Abyssal Mask or Knight's Vow. These items are what I look to build sometimes, but I never really end up building really expensive items like Deadmans or Gargoyles because I definitely try to be a little bit more gold efficient than that. And then finally, there's the AP Nunu. Let's say my team has no AP and the enemy team is swishier champions or don't have insane amounts of CC like Leona or Rel, then I'll definitely pick up AP Nunu for that game. I think it's the most fun thing to play, but I definitely would categorize myself as a more supportive player.
Are there any special like Nunu mechanics or tricks that you want to share with the world?
His hardest mechanic to understand is his W, because there are many different paths you can take to accomplish the same thing. So let's say the River's Warder, you could go around the Dragon Pit or the Baron Pit and gank from the Tri-Bush. But there are certain corners on the map that are extremely hard to curve and sometimes impossible depending on how fast you're going. So you just have to know what you can and can't do, which is completely experience based. The other actually mechanically intense play you can do on Nunu is you can do an instant W stun knockup if you're in melee range. You can literally flash W them, and like, let's say you have a Yasuo on your team, you flash W like 3 people and the Yasuo can ult off of that.
A lot of the important things that you kind of highlighted from just a play style perspective. He is low econ, he is not power farming. If you're not on the map influencing lanes early, then you are not doing your job.
Yeah, because basically your whole kit is revolved around ganking and securing objectives. Securing isn't like finishing the objective, is what you excel at. Your tank stats aren't as strong as most tanks, and you don't scale when it comes to damage either. So basically you're an early game, mid game champ, and you want to excel during the early or mid game, or else you'll basically fall off.
When you're like loading into a game, what's your thought process?
Especially on Nunu as a ganking oriented champ, you are thinking about where you want to be on the map. This game, I'm thinking, okay, my bot side is my strong side, because Lucian Nami currently is very, very strong. It might be the best bot lane combo you can do right now. Another thing is Alistar's melee, and if someone's melee, they're just easier to gank naturally. So I'm thinking, okay, I can easily push my bot lane a lead. Since I'm starting red side, I have 2 options. I could 5 camp clear up to top and then look for a gank top or mid, or I can clear my full red side and look for a gank bot or mid. The issue with that is you leave your whole blue side open. So I don't want to leave my blue side open because he can take my whole blue side while I'm ganking, and he can get a big level lead on me. And while Gragas isn't the scariest of junglers, it's still bad because he can build AP and still be very tanky. So I don't want him to have free farm. So I'm going to be pathing upwards. This Graves, I actually had the game before and he was pretty good. So I mostly avoid top, but I want to help my mid because he asked for it, saying his lane is extremely hard. And basically, I'm assuming it's because Cassiopeia's ground can stop him from moving essentially, and he loses the DPS battle.
That makes sense to what you said. Like bot lane is pretty volatile. Top lane is going to be fine on an island. Like Tom, if he's ahead, doesn't matter. If he's behind, doesn't really matter. So you're focusing around mid. We pick up the start for the Gragas here. So in top lane, Graves doesn't show up, and then Ollie and Samira are immediately on the bot wave. At this point, are you expecting the Gragas gank mid here, like a 3 camp into mid as you're clearing up?
So basically, mid is a free gank for Gragas because of Cassiopeia's ground. Akshan can't flash or E, so basically he's a sitting duck. I was definitely thinking, yeah, Gragas is gonna look mid here. I'm actually surprised that Cassiopeia messed that up. He was stunned and she could have W'd and he would have died. I'm lucky that my Akshan was able to avoid it, but this didn't really turn into much. It just gives a little bit of pressure. But now we know that Gragas is bot side. My bot lane has priority here. So basically, this is my scuttle. You see Gragas come for it, and we're like, hell no, like this is not your property. This is mine.
So right here, you pressure him off, but you know that he's still in the area. He has his bot camps up, and then bot lane is pushing back out. And so what's your thought process here? Because he's still in the area. Are you wanting to take this 3v3?
I believe that we're stronger 3v3 just because of how strong my bot lane is. And the fact that Alistar just overextends here, it could have been either a bait or just honestly a mistake that Gragas took initiative on. But this looked really bad for us. And I was thinking, okay, I just have to escape. And then this Gragas misplays really hard because he goes in and instead of popping his Q when he could have, he left it sit there. So basically I was spamming flash because I was like, okay, if I'm able to get out of this barrel range with my flash, I can just do that. It was his misplay that made me survive and turn that play because not only did he die and I survived, but Samira died as well. And Alistar ended up dying too.
So Gragas, we know that he cleared his full topside, so 12 CS with red buff, and then now he has to be coming back out to his bottom camps. The death timers are really short here, and Lucian, he wants to just crash this wave because Lucian has 2k gold, and he wants to get this under turret so he can reset and spend that. Would you take this one back?
Yeah, this is definitely a mistake. While I was pulling the blue buff out, I was like, Gragas is going to be here, and I don't have smite. I'm probably not going to get this. I pinged him off of that, and he dashed in, so that's a misplay by Lucian, but I also set us up for failure by going for that blue buff in the first place. On Nunu, you're a pretty safe champion when you're going phase rush because I can pretty much always get out. However, that was a misplay, yes. What I should have done is help Lucian push the wave so it crashes and resets while he's able to get a reset and not miss any minions.
This was like a really big opportunity with the Gragas dying. He's trapped into having to go to his bot side camps. I think there would be potential to take this scuttle or even go straight into his top side camps depending on how the lanes are looking while you know that he's going to be on bot side. Or if the lanes aren't set up for the invade, then you'd have the potential gank, and so you kind of have a lot of good options on the top side that you know he won't be able to respond to.
The second wave of camps offers the most XP proportional to your level out of any camps in the game. Mostly you would want to do raptors because you take raptors in a snap, but you never really want to look for Krugs because one, it's really risky to be on that side of the map as Nunu because you don't have any dashes. So I tend to almost never invade Krugs unless it's my only option and I need to. Raptors is definitely an option here. So obviously I'm on the scuttle. He's bot side right now, so I can do this is free. And then I most likely look for a gank top here because it's the only thing that's available right now that's on vision. Cass is there, but no one's there to follow up. So top isn't necessarily gankable right now, so I'd rather just farm up and basically use my time to get some sort of XP or gold.
And then this play, Lucian dies bot here. The Action starts roaming over because they're trying to crash this wave. Basically, this only works out because Ollie takes a really greedy reset. You're hovering this play, so you're roaming over to facilitate this play. And then I think the Graves TP we didn't really see come in because it's like in kind of a weird spot.
It was hidden.
Or else he would have been dead also.
But this is still very valuable because he wasted his TP, and that's the only impact he's going to have on a map for a while. If he doesn't go back top, Tom Kent is going to get a bunch of solo plates, and Tom Kent is going to be unkillable for Graves until he gets like LDR. So essentially, we have the threat of a TP and they don't for another five or 6 minutes.
This was something I wanted to point out in here. So this is a pretty obvious Drake, but the sequence of this really matters. Bot lane is still trying to crash this. They have one more wave that they want to push. And so instead of going and like starting this and getting low and you use your downtime, pick up the red buff, and then you go over to join them. And so it's kind of like everything just syncs up so that you're using your time well and you're not splitting XP with them in the lane. They get another wave crashed, and then you guys meet up at the same time on Drake.
My thought process there was basically my mid laners off the map in Cassiopeia had full priority, and I knew their bot lane would be on their way back soon-ish. So I want to get my red buff while they can't make any plays, because if I go for red when there is like a potential playmaking happening, then I'm basically griefing my team.
Here, there's another wave that they're trying to crash. And then Gragas comes in and Ollie, and they try to run them down. I don't know if this would work anyway. Gragas is only level 5. There's the TP in. So walk me through this play of what you're trying to do here.
I was thinking, okay, Samir's coming back to lane for sure. But maybe I was thinking, okay, Gragas could be in lane as well. But he ended up going for his Gromp. So I unluckily timed my ult and got it canceled right away. And I die here, but it ends up being a 1-for-1 if I remember correctly. And it's not even bad because she got 300 gold, we got 400 gold, and I got revived. So it's worth. And she also missed a wave to do that. And Gragas didn't pick up his Gromp. My thought process there was to cut them off, and maybe we can make a play with them pinched. Because Tahm Kench was there already, so I'd rather make something happen for sure, considering that he used his TP for us.
It's a little unlucky. I think you were trying to eat the minion here to get more health, but then it's like he E's over, so he cancels the ult, and then the Q, he like body blocks the Q, which is a bummer. Because I think if you got the eat on the minion, then you probably would have lived.
Yeah. I don't think I would have lived. I think she would have gotten another auto off by that point. I think it would have been pretty much an auto worth of a difference. But either way, it's worth, obviously.
Tom, he used his TP bot, so that was actually the culmination of like Graves isn't able to answer, so you go pick up. This is a dying wave, just making sure nothing is wasted. And I noticed that a few times, and I think that's something that lower elo players do not recognize those windows. They just see their full jungle up and they're like, oh, I'm gonna go do that. They don't recognize the waves that are dying and that are going into the abyss, you know?
Yeah, another thing to think about is, okay, I can't let him get any more free plating gold. Pretty much is what I'm thinking in my head, to pick up the XP and to also make sure that he doesn't get an extra plate gold. And I can, my camps are going to be there forever, so I can always just go get those. It
seems like this is kind of a point at the game where any lane is gankable. Talk to me about this gank up here.
This is very gankable because the fact that I have scuttle speed enhances my gank by 1,000 times. So Graves can't really dodge my E because I know there's no vision. I used the plant to see if there was. So as long as I come from the river, he can't see me until it's too late. And then he burned flash, ult, and E, and he still didn't get away.
I really like this re-engage after the fact. Gragas comes up and you barely get out. Then you heal up a little bit with the Q. Most people would just go like continue farming, but with Tom tanking, you're like, okay, as long as there's some CC lands, we're going to be able to pick up this kill.
This Gragas wanted to push the wave so it wouldn't get frozen on Graves, but he didn't have ult, and he used Q on the wave, which meant there was literally no threat to my life. So there was nothing wrong with me coming in there, and I knew it would turn into a kill or a flash. There was pretty much no consequences to me doing that. It's just being aware of, okay, he has no ult, he has no Q because he used it on the wave, this is free.
And here's another one, basically the same thing, running it back with mid. Cassio's actually playing well, like she's respecting it for the most part. Is that kind of how you see this?
I think, yeah, but she also misplays this because what she could have done there is ulted Akshan and probably just killed him. And then that would have been that. I just did that because I'm like, okay, I'm topside here anyways. I could go for a Rift right now, or I could look mid, and my Akshan has 4 kills. And this Cassiopeia is farming for free right now. So I'm thinking I want to pressure her while I still can and come from a side that I know isn't warded. Then Gragas messed up a dive because he was super angry. He literally just ran at him. Like, I don't even know what this is. So that's like a combination of him being mad and also him not knowing his damage. And I get a free rift off of that.
So we got 1,800 gold. We're going for Sunfire.
Usually at this point, I end up building Bramble because there's just healing in every single game at this point. This game, I went for Aegis because Cass is strong. She has her item. I was thinking, okay, a little bit of extra MR will be a little bit better, especially with a Cass and Gragas. I know Samira is their most fed, but that's what I just decided to do at that point of the game.
That makes sense to me. And I really like this play here. You're kind of syncing everything up. They just took this turret. Akshan has a wave coming in mid. You have Rift Herald, and the Drake is spawning. And so this is kind of like just a beautiful symphony of everybody pressuring and then pulling off to go to the Drake, or like that's how it could be. They're obviously messing around in the jungle a little bit, but then they pick up the kill on Gragas, and you end up getting it anyway. That's really good use of the Rift Herald pressure and the bot lane pressure to like use that and pull them over and make sure that the objective is free.
A Rift Herald, in my opinion, is worth more than any first dragon because the amount of pressure, priority, and gold you get off of placing a Rift Herald on a turret with plates on it is way more valuable, in my opinion, than any first dragon. If there's an objective spawning dragon or baron, you can use a Rift and immediately get prio in that lane as long as it crashes, which means you have priority for the objective.
Right here, you ping top lane literally as you're leaving base. So what play do you see up here?
Dragon's gone, mid turret's gone, and bot turret's gone. So the last objective we have is top turret. I've seen him in lane this entire time, and I'm thinking, okay, there's no way River's warded, and while Tri could be warded, this is still a pretty successful gank, considering that Tahm Kench is just really strong. So we can just look here. Gragas ends up showing up, so we just back off. But that's basically my decision making. Say, well, there's nothing to play for a bot side, so I should just go top.
your bot lane has broken out now, and you're really free to rotate as long as this is pushed in. Graves and Gragas both come up topside. It looks like Gragas use ult. They don't respect the rotation that could come through from the mid prio and your bot lane coming up, and so you pick up the 2 kills here.
To be honest, I don't think they knew where I was. They just thought, okay, maybe Lucian and Nami come after they push in that wave mid. They think, okay, well, we get away here as long as Nunu's not here. And then I ended up being there, obviously, so.
Because you had the freedom of like mid pressure because you'd taken mid turret with Herald, and then you're coming back out on the map again. So you head up into topside to pick up your newly spawning Gromp, and like a random fight breaks out. They tried to take like a 2v3 and nobody was on the map. So then that means a free Herald, and the Drake is spawning soon. And so you want to get this off the map so that there's no option to trade. You want to get both of them because you've gotten 2 free kills. So how do you kind of usually make those decisions of, am I grouping with my team or am I going for objectives or counter jungling?
First of all, the enemy bot side dies, and their bot side is pretty much their whole team at this point, or their Samira specifically. So with Samira dead, I don't have to help them do anything because there's no way they can ever mess up being full health and pushing us 4 mid, because they're just way too strong. This kills 2 birds with 1 stone. I can grab Rift for priority for Dragon, and I can also grab Rift so that they can't trade for Dragon.
And for you to be mid would just be redundant.
A waste of time.
Yeah, they don't need you there. It'd be overkill. Like, you can just go do your own thing. Normally, you would just go, straight into this, but because Cass decides to push another wave all the way into inner turret up here, it's a pretty free pickup to just give even more like insurance before you take the Drake. I think this is probably a tilt push at this point. Obviously,
we're gonna get for free regardless, but that's just a little bit of extra gold that we could get. Also, just like a little bit of a tilt factor for their scaling pick. At this point, the game is over. It's not really comebackable for them because Samira could pick up like a crazy pentakill, but the issue is if you're really good players and you're playing really well, then you can come back from anything. But when you're playing poorly, then you're just digging yourself a deeper hole. That dragon was gone regardless. Why would they start a 3v5?
Cass was dead. Graves didn't have TP, and he was showing topside. They're already behind. It's not soul point, and it's against the Nunu. And even if they did, it doesn't matter. So yeah, that's definitely the tilt factor. Then you pick up the kill on the Samira, and I'm pretty sure this is about where the game ends.
Yeah, so one thing I want people to know about Nunu here is I pinged this Baron, even though it's just Nami, Tom Kenshin, I could have soloed Baron right here. If you're ahead, which I was, and you have Sunfire and a lot of armor, which I did have, and a little bit of Dark Shield stacks, if people give me like 30 seconds, this is mine, like by myself. Baron does AD damage, so as long as you have a lot of armor and Sunfire, you take Baron by yourself for sure.
I think that we had some really good stuff for people to learn, especially about understanding priority and some things on efficiency and objective control. Is there anything else that you'd want to say to all the Nunu players out there?
One, you don't want to autopilot, because autopiloting games on any role is how you coin flip games. You have to always have a decision behind what you're doing. I'm pathing to this bush. Why am I doing this? Why am I going here? Am I placing a ward, or am I just autopiloting? There's many things you have to think about when you're even doing simple things like pathing. And 2, as a jungler, you probably receive most hate out of any other role. Just make sure that you don't let people's hate go to your head, and make sure to recognize your mistakes as well as everybody else's mistakes. I think recognizing mistakes is a very underrated way to grow as a player.
Too many people, all they focus on is their teammates' mistakes rather than looking at their own mistakes. That's the first step of being able to become kind of a smarter and better jungler, is knowing where to take responsibility for the games. I want to say a huge thank you to Snowball Barrage for collaborating on this video with me. Go check him out on Twitch and TikTok, and I'll put his socials down in the description. See you next time.